Hey guys, what is going on? So just want to hop on here and give some updates as far as my strength training progress so far on Triphasic paired with Turkesterone, as I've been running exclusively Turkesterone throughout this process. I'm not sure how long I've been on it, but if you go back to my last video when I said I was starting it, that's how long it's been. I'm currently just starting the third phase. I started it yesterday. And that is the concentric phase. So to kind of summarize, you basically just do a eccentric phase, an isometric phase, and then a concentric phase, which is where I'm currently at. And I've hit some PRs along the way, and my strength has been progressing nicely. I don't know how much of that is due to the program or just, it's not really a program, it's just my take on the concept, or how much of that is Turkesterone, but it seems to be working quite well so far. And from what I've heard, you kind of lose strength in those first couple phases, and then you're kind of able to make it all work in the last phase. So I'm hoping that's what ends up happening for me. Thus far, I've hit, a few PRs. I believe 385 was the first PR I hit, and that was pretty easy. I went for 395. That was a grind, but I got 395, so I added 20 pounds to my bench over the time period that I've been doing this. I think I talked about this before. I'm not sure if I actually hit these numbers during Triphasic or not. I think it was actually before. But I hit a 315 for 10 bench and then a 335 for 8. I believe both of those are probably up 1 rep each. I came really close to a 315 for 11. I've posted all of these on Instagram, by the way, if you're curious, if you want, to track my progress there. This is just more of a summary. So yeah, added, if I can get 11 for 315 over the course of this bulk, I've added 4 reps to my 315 AMRAP, which is pretty crazy. 20 pounds of my bench thus far. On my overhead press, the dark horse, I actually was not planning on really training overhead press at all, but I started doing it in the eccentric phase just because I figured that the slow eccentric for the overhead press could kind of fill some of the volume for my workouts. And the funny thing is, my overhead press, I actually hit a 245 overhead press over 2 years ago when I was pretty dedicated to doing overhead press. And as I've kind of gained more size, especially over this past year, I've been doing a lot of like bodybuilding style stuff. My shoulders have gotten bigger, but my overhead press was actually going down. It was kind of hovering in the 225 range, maybe 235, but definitely not 245. Even though I had more size, I wasn't being specific, which I preach about a lot. It makes a lot of sense to really practice the things that you're doing, not only in the context of, if you want to bench more, you have to bench more, but you also have to practice being able to grind on certain reps. So if you're going for 1 rep max, if you're not used to holding that weight in your hands, you're probably not going to be able to hit it. So that's kind of my philosophy on this, is spending dedicated periods of time to strength training, which is what I'm doing now. But kind of out of nowhere, I hit a 255 overhead press, which is only a 10-pound PR from something I hit over 2 years ago, which might not seem all that impressive, but considering relatively recently I was hovering around 225. I don't think I've hit 235 anytime in the past year prior to this, but I probably had it. But 255 was relatively easy. I have been going for 265, and that is like right there. I think on a good day I have it, but I have yet to get it as of now. I will probably be getting that in the next couple weeks. And then the 405 bench is pretty close, but it's not as close as the 265 OHP, which is literally just like right there. I just think I need a good day. So overall, lots of PRs have been happening. Like I said, I don't know how much of this is due to the program or how much of it is due to Turkesterone. Obviously, I think considering I've changed my programming, that would be a logical, train of thought. But obviously, when you're doing, really taxing eccentrics, and what I found even more so was that I was heavily taxed during the isometrics more so than I was for the eccentrics. But what I've heard is that those are really taxing. You might see a little bit of regression, and then as you go into the concentric phase, you're able to kind of unlock that strength and recover a bit more. So I'm hoping that's what happens for me, but I know that I recover extremely well, so maybe I didn't see that regression, but maybe I haven't seen the progression that I was kind of hoping for in terms of hitting a 405 bench, but kind of on the verge of that. I'm guessing I'll hit it by the end of the year. The 265 overhead press, I think, is just a matter of having a good day, and that should be there. So I'm very, very happy with both of those. I don't think 275 overhead press would be my next goal, but I think that seems pretty far away. Considering a 10-pound jump in the OHP is pretty substantial. 405 bench, after I hit that, that's like a lifetime goal for me, something that I was actually doubting I would ever even achieve. So now that I'm getting really close to that, and as I'm kind of beating my body up doing all these heavy lifts, I'm thinking about whenever I hit both of those, I want to be able to for sure hit the 405 bench, and I'm pretty sure by the time I do that, the 265 will be there. After I hit those, I'm planning on going back into bodybuilding style training. I'm not sure if I'm going to sneak a mini cut in there or not. I don't really want to, but I've been having such a tough time gaining weight recently. I've been hovering around that 240 range for over a month now. And I honestly think I need to crash my metabolism a bit just to be able to gain weight again. I don't know if that's really an optimal method, but obviously if I go on a mini cut, I should be able to lose some fat as well, which would be beneficial to some extent, and then maybe get back on a surplus, or maybe I just continue to kind of maintain at this weight. I'm trying to bulk, but it's just extremely hard to get the calories in. But that's where I'm currently at. So I'm thinking I'm just going to go back into bodybuilding after I hit those numbers, assuming that I do, and then kind of shift my focus away from bench press in particular, maybe do some overhead press here and there, but not really like prioritize it. And I'm going to start working my shoulders again, which is something I've not been doing this whole time, because I find that working my shoulders is counterproductive for my strength gains, but it is good for aesthetics. And then I will probably be implementing deadlifts regularly again, which I've actually started doing already, just considering a deadlift is a concentric type movement. So I started adding that recently, and I'm happy to be back on that path of building my deadlift up, because I had some really good momentum that I stopped because I wanted to focus on bench press and kind of overhead press, I guess, as well. But now that I can kind of take my foot off the gas, assuming I do get those numbers, it's going to be more like, okay, deadlifts is going to be the only really compound lift I'm going to worry about. And then it's just going to be bodybuilding style training, a lot of shoulder work, back work, stuff like that. So anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I'll keep you updated, and I'll talk to you soon.